The off-road heavy-duty pickup truck segment is blowing up right now, and here is the latest entry. This is the all-new first ever 2024 Chevy Silverado heavy-duty 2500 ZR2, and this is a special edition. This is the Bison, and I'm here in Johnson Valley, California. I'm gonna put it on some pretty challenging terrain, rock climbing and also some desert running to figure out, is it an oxymoron to have a heavy-duty truck that's also an off-road vehicle, or is it just making sense? So let's go and do it. I'm descending this rocky, bouldery field, and this is a big truck. So first, let me describe it. This is a crew cab, standard bed, Silverado 2500, which means it has approximately a 160-inch wheelbase, but it's been updated. So first, Chevrolet lifts it up about 1.5 inches front and rear. So it has an actual suspension lift, not a leveling kit, not a front leveler. Then they put DSSV Multimatic shocks under it. The surprising part to me is that the piston size, the diameter of the shock, is the same on this heavy-duty diesel as it is on the light-duty Silverado, Bison, and ZR2, and the Colorado ZR2 and Bison. The reason why these trucks exist is because you used to buy a heavy-duty pickup truck and you would lift it yourself with aftermarket components, and you would put big tires, gigantic wheels and tires on it, and you would tow your trailer to the desert, maybe with some toys, or maybe you want to take this truck out for a little run as well. But now manufacturers saw that and they want to offer something for you from the factory with warranty. So first there was the Power Wagon, then the Super Duty Tremor, then the Heavy Duty Rebel from Ram, then this, the ZR2 and the Bison ZR2. So that's kind of the genesis of this. This truck weighs, it's fairly heavy. This truck weighs around, well, close to 8,500 pounds. Which is beefy. So why does it weigh so much? It's because really of that diesel engine. But you still have, for a diesel ZR2, you still have between 2,600 and 2,900 pounds of payload. If you got a gas version, so the 6.6 gasoline engine, you would save quite a bit of weight. And you will have around 3,300 pounds potentially. Ooh, I think I'm pushing that rock. Oh, I hope my skid plate works. Oh my Lord. That rock was in the middle of the line. Is in the middle of the line. And it's loose. And I do have some skid plates thanks to AEV. Woo! All right, so let's keep going. So this ZR2 is its own trim level. So it's not like it's a package you add on top of another trim. And it's near the top of their lineup. And it comes with a unique style. And this has the AEV bumpers. So you don't have to get this. The AEV Bison package on the ZR2 costs about $9,100. What does that give you? It gives you steel bumpers with these toe points and really great integration, and bumpers front and rear, and also skid plates and special trim on the inside as well. And AEV's been building bumpers for at least 26 years, so they've been around for a long time. So you don't have to do that. What you could do is you could buy a gasoline powered, so 6.6 gas V8 10-speed Allison branded automatic ZR2, and that starts around $72,000, and it has a more of a basic bumper in the front, and I'll show you the rear in a second. But when you go all in for the Bison, you're getting a slightly bigger bumper, and it's winch capable, so you can add a winch here. But because there is a little bit of a bulge right here in the front, you're losing maybe a degree or two of approach angle. So if you don't mind that, if a winch is important to you for recovery of other vehicles, this is the way you can go. If that's not important to you, you can get a basic front bumper, which actually looks pretty nice, and save some money. You have a choice of several different side steps, including a power side step, which actually I would prefer. But for this first drive here in Johnson Valley, Chevrolet set this up so they have special routes that they selected for us, and they also removed the side step because they wanted maximum clearance, because they kind of wanted to show off the articulation and the handling of these big brutes. So right now it doesn't have a step, but it could have a step. But because this skid plate on the Bison is sculpted in a very nice way, it actually has a little bit more ground clearance than a standard ZR2 heavy-duty truck. So if you want that little additional edge and protection, that's where you're spending your money for the Bison. Aha! So I just found another quite steep and loose hill here. So I want to see if I can bring this big ZR2 heavy-duty Bison up this area. I'm in 4-low, rear locker enabled, and I want to see how much traction I can get. I want to keep momentum a little bit building. That was about 15-ish degrees, maybe a little bit more. Cameras. There's a rock right there. Easy. Plenty of traction. I was actually taking it a little bit too slow in order to make it as difficult as possible. And the truck is doing it. And this is another challenge. This is a big vehicle. So in order to thread it between these rocks in the desert, I just rolled over that boulder. No big deal, it's a big tire. Like I said, in the rear it's also a steel bumper, and it's a different design. If this wasn't a Bison, you would have a standard bumper with a foot step here. But this is not standard, this is really heavy steel, so you can actually potentially drop this on a rock without hurting it too bad. Also has cutouts for if you want to add additional lights, like cube lights here. And of course, here's your 2.5-inch receiver, a big heavy-duty hitch. This truck is capable of towing up to 18,500 pounds, even with this off-road suspension, with a diesel. If you wanted a gas engine, then the towing maximum was around 16,000 pounds. Look at this number. This is the payload on this Bison diesel. 2,649 pounds, and this is probably the worst you will see. This is still a very usable payload number. I really hate to see a heavy-duty truck with a payload close to 2,000 pounds, but this is almost 2,700 pounds, and the payload can be much better than this. But this also means that this truck weighs about 8,700 pounds. So, wow. You need a lot of traction to keep this truck moving. And it has a selectable rear locker, so not a G80. There's a button right there on the dash. You can click it, extra traction to carry that weight up. The other thing about a big truck like this that's fairly heavy is you need to scan the terrain and watch out for loose soil, because if you're on a shelf road, this is not quite it right here, but it made me think of it. If you're on the shelf road and you see some sandy area or muddy area, then you could, with your weight, actually kind of sink down a little bit. So you're gonna kind of scan for that and understand the terrain. Ooh, this is kind of a nasty berm. Let's see if I can articulate this truck as much as possible. Oh yeah. You know, I'm pretty strong. You know, this truck is about 8,700 pounds, and I can jiggle it and I can lift it. Oh yeah. Anyway, I'm just trying to look at the articulation because that's a big deal with off-roaders. And here in the back, decent amount of articulation. Let's look at the front. All right, I couldn't get it in the air here. So there's not a ton of articulation in the front, but still enough traction, especially with the rear locker and the traction control system, to actually cover a lot of different situations. It has the latest 6.6 liter V8 turbo diesel Duramax under the hood, and it's got the latest technology, the latest turbocharger and everything like that to produce 470 horsepower and 975 pound-feet of torque. Of course, it still made it to a 10-speed Allison branded automatic transmission. And a lot of customers choose this engine. In fact, here we have 3 trucks that we could drive, and they're all Duramaxes. So Chevrolet is not really showcasing a gas V8, they're showcasing their diesel technology. And I think it makes sense, because if you want to bring that toy hauler with you on the highway and turn these big 35-inch tall tires and still get decent economy, this is the engine you want. All right, so now I want to try a higher speed pass. Keep in mind, I am aired down to about 25-ish PSI, so I cannot fly too much. But what I can do is I can go about 42 on this terrain in this wash. Wow, I got this beast moving fast. So yeah, it's capable of this. I mean, it's not a Colorado Bison by any means. I mean, it's way heavier and wider and bigger, or at least feels this way, but it still is capable. So if your body is in trouble and you need to do a recovery and you need to go a little bit deeper into the desert like this, and you want to cover some ground, you shouldn't be afraid to do that. And by the way, I have all-wheel drive, auto. So I have automatic all-wheel drive setting on this transfer case, and this is the only truck in its segment to have this feature, because the other guys have 4 high, 4 low, but I have that too, and auto setting as well. Woo! Alright, I'm getting used to this, going at about 40 mile an hour-ish in the wash and a big heavy duty. Wow. Well, there you have it. I got a chance to do a tiny bit of crawling here in the desert. I went quickly in the wash over here, about 45 miles per hour. So yeah, this truck has that capability. It can crawl, it can go quickly off-road, but of course, don't expect it to turn on a dime. It's not a mid-size or a half-ton truck. It has a long wheelbase, so it's one of those big beasts. And you're probably wondering about the price right about now. The 2024 Silverado ZR2 heavy duty starts at $72,595. That's with a gas V8. If you want a diesel like this, you'll pay another $9,500. So that puts you in the low $80,000 range. Then if you want the Bison, what this is, you'll pay another $9,100 for the skid plate package, the interior trim, and also the bumpers and the wheels themselves. So now you're about $90,000. You can push it a little bit further with some options like power folding steps and sunroof and such, but that's the price range of this truck. I also will publish a buyer's guide, so stay tuned for that. Check out alltfl.com. I'm gonna compare it directly against the competitors like the Super Duty and the Ram trucks, of course, the heavy duties. But I think the price is pretty much in the middle of the competition. It's got good capability. I cannot wait to take it to Colorado and do some rock crawling on the trails I know best. And also, of course, do the iGauntlet World's Toughest Towing Test, because this truck has to do some work. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.